closer. That was quite a bit longer than I originally intended. Holy. Anyway, howdy howdy. How long 2 songs ended up. Go. Well then, Dominator. Way howdy howdy. Morning morning. I was just typing up something to a friend. Also like finishing my breakfast. Yes. We're here. Back for more of this. More Umineko in the middle of the week, dude. No longer just a weekend. At least for this week anyway. Tomorrow we're gonna probably finish up Expedition 33. And then Friday, Saturday we go for more Umineko. Next week. Like Wednesday, Thursday, probably Thursday, yeah. It's on the 5th. Although we might get it on the 4th. I don't know. I forget when the release window for the new Deltarune chapters are. Alright, we'll see how far we can get on the weekend, and then... if we haven't finished up Expedition 33, like, at all on Thursday, then we'll spend the rest of the beginning next month, I guess. Going through Expedition 33, and then maybe, if we have time, I'll quickly, I don't know, do chapters 1 and 2 again of Deltarune to maybe set up some extra save file stuff. I think our save files are fine, though. But maybe just double check that. Finishing all 8 episodes of Umineko before this. No, thank you. That's too much for me, dude. I'm already dying enough as is with all this reading. And this song is sick. I gotta put some of these tracks in my randomizer. Speaking of randomizer, I gotta also, well, I don't gotta, but I want to play more. Whatchamacallit? I want to play more Cage to Rando. Alright, so it's time for something with my friend. I gotta stop. I gotta minimize freaking Discord. Oh yeah, World End Dominator. Such a cool name for such a cool song, dude. Anyway, that's been already been like 15 minutes, 10 minutes of like me scrambling to get stuff ready, and then like another 5 of me just yapping about what I'm gonna be doing this week, next week, this month. But right. I guess, yeah, let's load in, do a quick recap, and then continue. Song goes hard. Did I just put start? Oops. I'm gonna blame that on, not being fully awake. Oh, can I, like, right-click here? Thank you. System? Load? We're doing episode 3 speedrun, just total control. Alright, so... So what happened last time? Everyone, like, all the adults, we were seeing what they were talking about in the dining hall. We're actually able to, like, watch that. That's pretty cool. Of how they're wondering who Beatrice is, who she actually is. They're probably some old woman like pulled up in a mansion somewhere. El Kenzo was apparently always being very sneaky and heading outside into the forest to go somewhere. And how they tried telling him, but could never really follow him. They always lose him. I'm just now looking at her like dress design. What? That's far more than just like the one-winged eagle, right? It's far more intricately designed. Got a flashback from someone meeting young Beatrice too. Didn't that happen at the very start of the episode? That's not what you said? What do you mean? Someone young meeting Beatrice. Alright, yeah, okay. Sorry, that's... You know how my brain likes to rearrange words. I would assumed maybe that Beatrice we saw at the very beginning was young Beatrice. Different hair color though. He seemed a lot nicer. I don't know. So maybe just someone with the same name. Maybe it's actually this whoever's hiding in this mansion that's definitely in the forest. But right. After that, had the whole back and forth with Battler and Beatrice. Like in the Purgatorio. If anything, get an older vibe. What, because of the gray hair? But they said they weren't an endless, like, witch yet, so I'm assuming it has to be younger. Right. There was a whole bunch more of the, like, Devil's Truth stuff, and then, what was it, Ample's Raven? I feel like I've heard that somewhere before, now that I think about it, but I like that with a lot of stuff. Like, go back to this. How about Prison Strip? But, like, I'll see something for the first time, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then, like, a day will pass, and I'll think about it, and I'll feel like I've seen it somewhere before. Other than that first time, but I think I only feel like that because I actually have seen it before. It was the day before I saw it for the first time. I think my brain is just incorrect. Wired wrong. Oh yeah, and Ronove. Ronove is pretty big. I like him a lot. I like how much he just seems to not care about Beatrice, or like at least being overly nice in like a fake way or anything like that. He's just like, yeah, she sucks, but I serve her. Yes. He's cool. But right, going back to a reminder and such here. What happened after that? Oh, Battler turning around. Beatrice is like, I guess, Sample's Raven, I guess we would call it. That's probably the correct name. That was pretty cool. She could have used a red text. And then she decided not to. I wonder why. Let me just chug more coffee. I woke up like pretty early. Like I woke up around 10 p.m. last night and have yet to go to sleep. Kim Kardashian, Kimbuki. You wish you were him. I'm him. That's how you doing, DBZ? Alright, let's actually start. It's been like 20 minutes. Holy moly. Let's get this show on the road before I end up losing all of my energies and pass out. I took a shower, I ate some nice food. I got like half a mug of coffee in me. I think we're good. I think I did pretty well in the recap. I don't think there's anything important I'm missing. Be surprised to me. It's only been like a day since I played it. 2 days? 1 day? If we played it the day before, is it a day or is it 2 days? Be 1 full day since we last played, so a day, right? Why am I stalling? Stalling your stuff. Alright, so... Oh, right, at the end here. She was gonna inform us about why she refused to speak in red. And she was like, nah, never mind. I'll let Rosa explain. So, let's see what Rosa's gonna say. What am I doing, Umina? I don't know, I'm broken, dude. I've already been awake for like almost 12 hours now. Yes. And I'm gonna be awake for like another 4 or 5 more hours for this entire stream reading. I'm gonna be a miracle if I can actually make it through, no problem. Of course, I think the same way. Eva speaking, what is she thinking the same way about? So does too, right? Rosa, stop. Stop daydreaming. You need to tell me about thoughts.
どうしたんや、ローザさん。あんたさっきからずいぶんおとなしいな。
She's thinking about how it would be so cool if she had a gun right now.
体調でも悪いんとちゃうか？
Maybe a block of gold. From the beginning, Rosa had never been one to cut in on the siblings' fights, but even so, she seemed unmotivated. They had said almost nothing during this night's conference. The whole time, she hung her head and appeared to be thinking of something else.
あんたさっきからぼんやりしてるわよ。
Daza.
そんなので遺産が守れると思ってるの？あんたも一児の母なんだから、もっとしっかりなさいよ。ごめんなさい。
Hold on. Die, dude. Ah, I'm dying. Long hair sucks, dude. Well, not long hair, like medium length hair sucks, dude. I want it to be longer so I can tie it back already. It's like stabbing my eyes.
朝がだいぶ早かったんじゃないかね。
I don't want to become bald. Who do you think I am? You?
体調が悪いなら無理をしない方がいいだろう。
客室にベッドの用意がありますよ。お休みになってはいかがですか？ご案内しますよ。いえ、大丈夫です。ありがとう。
どうしたんだ？何か心配事でもあるのか？
Yeah, what's going on?
いえ、別に。そう？さっきからずっと心ここにあらずという感じよ。そしてそれは今私たちがしている議題と何か関係があるんじゃないかしら。
Oh, let me fix it. Those words, everyone stared at Rosa together. Staring at her. Weak woman. As if in response, Rosa's shoulders quivered. Apparently, Curious guess hadn't been wrong. Rosa couldn't have denied either.
いえ、あの、
I don't know. She swallowed whatever she had been trying to say and went silent again. To speak! Of course, the other siblings also began to realize that something about her appearance was different from usual. Her appearance? Something actually different? Or does it mean to wait like she's, she just looks. Her emotions.
どうしたんだ。さっきからおかしいぞ。何か思うことでもあるのか。
わしら全員で団結しようって誓い合ったばかりやないか。
I did. Just a witch.
一人で悩むなんて水臭い話やで。話したってな。
ローザ、話しなさい。
Look at them all sounding nice. But after what we saw, like the end of the last episode, comes off a bit fake, doesn't it? Probably is. Did I just skip not reading that? The men pressed her one after the other, and Rosa confessed, resignedly? Is that an actual word? And nervously. The atmosphere made it seem as though she was confessing to some modest prank, which had inadvertently brought about a serious situation.
いえ、ベアトリーチェっていうお父様の愛人って
Beatrice.
本当にその生きてるのかしらって思って。
はあ、そりゃ生きてるに決まってるでしょう。
What if she's a ghost?
こうして手紙を送ってくるぐらいだもの。
Maybe a spooky skeleton.
元気かどうかは別の問題だろうけどな。肖像画の美女も。今じゃきっといいお年だろうぜ。
元気やと思うで。金のことで悪知恵働くやつは決まっていくつになっても元気や。
Is that right?
案外悪巧みは最高の回春剤かもしらへんで。
I'm in such bad health. Bad woman.
生きてるはずないの。
Shouldn't be?
今なんて。
Why not?
ベアトリーチェは死んでるのよ。私が殺した。
Excuse me?
なんだって。
どういうことよ、ローザ。
でも私が殺したわけじゃ。
Killed her or you didn't? Which one?
でも私があんなところに連れ出したから、
Brought her to a...
やっぱり私が殺したのよ。あれは夢だと思い込もうとしたのよ。でもやっぱりあれは夢じゃなかったのよ。
How is Beatrice here at all if she's
だから
dead?
これはベアトリーチェの俺からの手紙なのよ。
Yeah. She's freaking out, dude. That's what I did. It was so sudden that everyone was at a loss for words. Rosa kept on talking, unable to stop holding her head, as her hair flew all about.
どうか落ち着いて。
Calm
ロ
thyself.
ーザさん。
わしには何がないやらさっぱりや。もう死んどる？どういう意味なんや。
2つの意味があると思うわ。まず1つ目は言葉通りの意味、そしてもう1つは私たちの想像が正しかったことを裏付けるもの。
ということは、ローザはベアトリーチェに会ったことがあるというのかね。
そんな話
ローザの口からは一度も聞いたことがないわ。ローザ、いつよ。あなたは一体いつベアトリーチェに会ったのよ。
When I was like 5. She had gray hair.
ずっと昔よ。まだこの島に引っ越してきたばかりで、私は幼かった。私は悪くないの。私が殺したわけじゃ。
落ち着け。誰もお前を責めちゃいねえぜ。まず水でも飲め。な、夏日さん、水差しを頼む。
This seems like a new detail that only exists in this episode. Right? Like Rosa knowing Beatrice and claiming I've met her before, I guess. Because I don't think this detail would fit in the other 2 episodes all that well. Not been mentioned. I think that much is clear. Oh, they didn't mention the other mention either. Would it fit in with the first episode? Well, I guess we wouldn't know because she like died immediately in the first episode. It could have. Well, let's continue. See where this goes.
はい。どうぞ、ローザさん。
Ah, true.
どうか落ち着いて。
Like pretty much all of the adults except Natsui, Hideyoshi, and Aba. If the whole second mention thing was what was discussed in episode 1, I feel like that would have definitely have been brought up. I don't know, it's just still strange to me how similar to episode 1 some of the events in this episode are. Episode 2 didn't really have any of that. It was like pretty much completely different. I skipped that and didn't read it. Oops. It's just her drinking water though. Catching her breath. Also, that would have been a good scene break to do last time. That was only a few minutes. Flashback? Oh, you backed her up.
ベアトリーチ。
Enzo? Where are we? Still a... No, okay. You wasn't sure? You weren't sure? Oh, right, I got you. Oh, well, not like it matters. So where are we now? All of these are pretty much the same. I don't know. I'm looking.
先ほどから呼んでよ。
Beatrice.
聞こえなんだか。
I'll just casually talking. Chimus? Cow?
そうであったか。すまぬ。ぼんやり考え事をしていた。許せ。
This doesn't sound like Beatrice.
良い天気だな。 なるほど。陽気に心を奪われるのもわかるというもの。紅茶はここで飲むか？
わらわは何者なのか。
Hmm.
今紅茶を持ってくる。
Didn't even answer.
しばし待て。
This isn't real Beatrice.
紅茶は良い。わらわの話に付き合え。
よかろう。
Happening. And so I used the excuse of getting black tea to try to interrupt the conversation for the time being, but his attempt had been very transparent. I sat in a garden chair and beckoned Kenzo to do the same. Kenzo sat down heavily, exaggerating his age. For a while we sat and appreciated the silence. Beatrice Puyowi?
何者なのか。この問いに今日まで答えてくれた者はおらぬ。なぜか皆目をそらしはぐらかす。
Are you? You're a woman Kenzo picked up and transformed into Beatrice, surely. What am I looking for? Options? I'm gonna turn up the voices a little bit. Is it no 52?
酒は我が友だ。酒は我が友だ。
Maybe that's fine.
そなたとは長い仲だ。わらわはそなたを無二の友であり、そして父ですらあると思っておる。
No, this is the voice is completely different. It can't actually be her.
だからどうか教えてほしい。そなたは知っているはずだ。わらわが何者であるかを。
なぜにそのようなことが気になるのか。
Who wouldn't be worried about who they are if they can't remember?
そなたはベアトリーチェ。この屋敷の主ではないか。それ以上の何を知りたいというのか。
わからぬ。
Can you speak up, Beatrice?
なんだ。何が知りたいのか自分でもわからぬというのか。それは不可解な。若き日には出口なき思考の迷路にて遊びたくなることもある。そなたの悩みもそれであろう。
Enzo laughed as though it was a trivial matter. However, I couldn't help but feel that this behavior was another attempt to force me to stop any further questioning.
やはりそなたもそれを語ってはくれぬのか。
語ることなど何もない。
It's almost surprising that it's the same Is it? It doesn't even sound like Beatrice, though. Like, the smugness in her voice, whatnot aside. Like, even just... It doesn't sound like it's the same... Like, tone or... That's not the correct word here. It doesn't sound like it's the same person. Like, at all. I guess it's the just easiest way to try to explain it. Good range then, yeah.
そなたはベアトリーチェだ。それで十分ではないか。
いや違う。わらわが知りたいのは名前ではない。わらわが何者なのかだ。わらわは誰で、何で、いつからここにいて、そしていつまでここで日々を過ごせばよいのか。
やはり紅茶を持ってこよう。
Getting questions
せっ
again,
かく
Kenzo?
の陽気がもったいないとは思わぬか。
Oh.
これは何の話だ。
All this about, yeah. I'm wondering the same thing, Battler.
どうやらお前の昔話のようだが。
そのようだな。まさかここまで遡るとは。
自分は誰なのかとはまたえらく高尚な悩みをお持ちのようじゃねえか。
無理もないわ。当時のわらわは自分が何者なのか、何のために生きているのかを理解できなかった。
Why is that?
誰でも思春期になると自分の生きる意味とは何ぞやみたいな哲学的な悩みに一度はとらわれるものさ。お前にもそんな微笑ましい時期があっただけという話だろ。
Feel like it's not quite that though.
わらわは生まれた時からその屋敷におった。そして屋敷の中だけで生きた。もちろん庭には出られたが、敷地はとても高い柵で囲まれており、それを出ることはできず、また出てはならないと厳しく言われておった。わらわはな、屋敷と庭は自由に歩けたが、その外へは自らの意志ではたった一歩出ることさえ叶わなかったのだ。
そりゃどういう意味だよ。物心ついた時からずっとカゴの鳥だったって言いたいのか？
But Kinzel's here. Aren't you 1,000 years old? What do you mean you were born here and whatnot?
そういうものだと思っていた。何しろ気づいた時からそういう生活だったからな。疑問にも思わなかった。
お前一体何者なんだ？
それよ、それこそわらわもまたのぞ
どうせ人間ではなくて魔女でしたって言いやがるんだろ。
いや違う、まだ違う。
Yet.
いや、かつてそうだったと言うべきか。
Was once the case.
わらわは金蔵によって作られた人間によって作られた人間だ。
Yeah, it's freaking homunculus, dude.
いや、肉でできた檻とでも言うべきか。
なんだよそりゃ。妙な話を言い出しやがって。
We apparently made Canon
ど
and
うせそ
Shannon.
なたは信じぬだろうがな。まずは聞け。わらわは1000年を経た偉大なる魔女であった。しかしある時、金蔵によって呼び出され、その秘術にて永遠の虜となるよう縛られたのだ。
そりゃ初耳だぜ。後ろ宮家で知られてる話では、お前はじい様に呼び出されて悪魔の契約みたいなのを結んで黄金を授けたってことになってるぜ。
うん、それは正しい。そしてわらわは黄金を授け、契約の終わる時まで姿を消すはずだった。
Oh, but it was like psych and he like sucked you inside of a body, trap you there.
しかし、まあモテる女の辛いとこよな。金蔵はこともあろうか、わらわに恋をした。
じい様も金眼が進んでたんだろうよ。ついでに乱視だな。よりによってお前に惚れるとはよ。
まあわらわにとっては迷惑この上ない話よ。しかし人間の力とは恐ろしいものでな。あれは恐ろしい力を発揮してわらわをこの地へ釘付けにしたのだ。わらわが首を縦に振らぬ限り解放せぬと言ってな。なんとも強引な男よ。
すげえじゃねえかよ。じい様がオカルトかぶれなのは誰もが知るところだが、大魔女ベアトリーチェ様を釘付けにするほどの力があったとはな。
Maybe you could do the same thing, Valor.
そんなおかしな話信じると思う？
やはり信じぬか。
俺が信じるのは お前が森の中の秘密屋敷に隠居していたって事実だけだ。お前こそが六軒島の19人目なんだろう。
So we're still on Ronkujima then, I guess. And that, like, I don't know if I'd call it a mansion, but I guess this area is this mansion that I guess everyone's talking about?
いかにもそなたの想像通り、ここは六軒島の森深く、外界からは見つけることもかなわぬ隠し屋敷。
Not to be found from the outside.
その名もクアドリア。
9 birds or tree.
そういや、ゲストハウスの正しい名はトライアンだって聞いたな。
So why 9 birds? Nine? Yes. 7, 8, 9, or maybe Kinzo's 9? I'm not sure how much sense that makes.
なるほど。ネーミングセンスは近いな。そして、お前はそこに隠居していたじい様の愛人。そうだな。
愛人というのは正しくない。金蔵の片思いであったと言うべきだろう。先ほども話したであろう。あれが勝手にわらわに惚れた。そしてわらわに求愛したが、それをわらわは拒んだ。そして、わらわをこの隠し屋敷へ閉じ込めたのだ。いや、屋敷に閉じ込めたというのは正しくないか。この体に閉じ込めたというべきか。
This body.
最後が何を言ってるのかわかんねえぜ。
どうせそなたはバカにして聞かぬであろう。何しろ魔女も魔法も信じぬという。語れど聞く耳を持たぬというならば、それを口にするは愚の骨頂だ。
信じるかどうかは俺が判断するぜ。聞かなきゃ話も進まねえしな。話せよ、お前の昔話を。
Yeah, you gotta tell me so I can continue the story. Oh. Happy music on? Now we got this weird
金蔵はわらわに求愛を拒まれたが、
like, mystery music.
それ式でへこたれる男ではない。どうあってもわらわの首を縦に振らせたかった。わらわをこの屋敷へ閉じ込め、わらわを口説き落とそうと永遠の時間を費やしたのだ。
An eternity.
強引なやつだな。しつこい男は嫌われるだろ。
求愛に応えるかどうかは別にして、男をそこまで必死にさせるのは、まあ女としてそう不愉快ではない。しかしわらわは決して首を縦には振らなかった。なんとかその戒めから逃れようとしたが、あれの結界は強固で破れなかった。
それで
様々な抵抗を試みた結果、金蔵の結界から逃れるには肉の体を捨てるほかないという結論に至った。肉体というものは魔法を語る上でとても制約の多い器なのだ。
肉の体を捨てる？なんだよそれ。幽体離脱みたいなものか？
She just, I don't know, tossed herself off. Well, what would she do? Just die somehow, right?
まあそんなものと考えればよい。しかしわらわは精霊ではない。魔女ではあっても、もともとは肉の体で生まれ落ちた人間だ。そのわらわにとって肉体を捨てるということは死を意味するほどではないにしても、それに準ずる覚悟が必要だった。
それはつまり自殺することでしか解放されないと決意したって意味なのか？
自殺ではない。あくまでも 肉の体を捨てるだけのことだ。
Ascended.
魂だけになるのは心もとない。魂は肉の体を出れば太陽の強い風に絶えずさらされてしまう。
Strong winds of the sun.
それによって吹き散らされないように自らを維持するのはわらわとて容易なことではない。できることなら避けたい最後の手段だった。しかし金蔵の結界から逃れるにはそれしかなかったのだ。何しろわらわは自由人。金蔵の生が果てるまでカゴにて飼われるのはごめんというもの。
I couldn't see the stuff Beidou kept going on about throwing away her body of flesh as anything more than suicide. Grandfather persistently courted her and to escape from that. She chose her own death?
それで自殺したってのか？何を言ってやがる。当のお前はそこでのんびりガーデンチェアに腰掛けてるじゃねえか。
そうだ、それこそが金蔵によって与えられた新たな檻だったのだ。
A new cage?
檻？この屋敷のことか？
違う、そこのガーデンチェアにてくつろぐわらわの体のことだ。金蔵は魂となって抜け出そうとしたわらわをそれでもなお逃すつもりはなかったのだ。いやいや恐ろしいやつ。普通は片思いの女が死んでみせれば100年の恋も冷めるであろうに。だからこそあれも魔術師の端くれなのか。
They yanked back your soul and shoved it back in the body or something?
さっぱりわからねえ魔女っ子トークで煙に巻くな。つまり何だってんだ。
金蔵は魂となったわらわすらも逃さなかったということだ。
Oh man, they did a real good job. It doesn't. It looks a bit weird and how it's all cut out. The transparency on the butterfly. I mean, inside of it doesn't look like it should be transparent. And around like orbs here look a bit fuzzy. Why's that bothering me?
人間の思いというやつは恐ろしい。
No, it represents her cage magics. Oh, okay. You know what? True.
これほどまでの魔力を
Yeah, I understand it.
死者の魂をつなぎ止めるなど、それを専門に弓道する魔術師でもおいそれと至れぬ境地よ。わらわはそれを知るからこそ金蔵の恐るべき魔力にその時初めて驚愕した。そして金蔵はわらわの魂を捕まえ、だが魂を捉えておく檻は鉄でも鉛でも作れない。ただ一つを除いて。
なんだよ、魔法の檻だとでも言い出すのかよ。
違う、わらわやそなたのようなこの肉の体だ。肉と血でできた檻だけが魂をこの世につなぎ止める。金蔵はわらわの魂をわらわと瓜二つに作り上げた肉の檻に再び。
要約するとこういう。じい様がしつこく求愛するんで嫌になり自殺したが、うまく死にきれなかったってことだろ。回りくどい言い方しやがってからに。
いいや違う、わらわはホムンクルスの種子に魂を閉じ込められ試験管の中より生まれ入れたのだ。
はあ
Yes.
バカバカしい。そんなの
I kind of figured that, yeah.
生命を
Called
生
it
み
a
出
little.
す奇跡すらも金蔵は成し遂げたのだ。
He's a mother.
わらわの魂を閉じ込める檻にするためだけにな。己の恋心だけでこれほどの魔力を見せるとは くづく恐ろしいやつよ。
ああ、もうさすがにバカバカしくなってきたぜ。好きなだけ言って
Don't
ろっ
say
てんだ。
that.
俺は何も信じねえぜ。勝手にやってやがれってんだ。
なんだその不愉快な態度は。
最初は何か重大なヒントが隠されているだろうと多少の興味を示したが、
But it was all garbage,
聞け
gibberish.
ば聞くほどおかしな話になっていく。魔女を否定するゲームのはずなのに、いつの間にか魔女話を鵜呑みにさせられていく気がするぜ。悪いがこれ以上耳を貸す気はねえな。勝手に好きなだけほざいてろよ。耳クソでもほじってるからよ。
Oh, that looks like a new sprite. When I started acting cold, Beetle seemed unusually discouraged. Of course, her expression was still shameless. And that really easy to understand expression of hers, I had the feeling I was able to catch a glimpse of loneliness at my failure to find a story of her past interest. For some reason, that subtle reaction made her seem pitiful. So even though I kept my careless attitude, I decided to cover for her slightly. Damn it, even though she's an irritating witch, I'm still weak against her because of her chromosome. Because her chromosomes are XX. What a way to put it. Maybe don't kill the dude's family next time. Maybe you wouldn't be so lonely if you stopped killing everyone.
ま、信じる気は毛頭ねえけどよ。
Oh man.
続けろよ。
Keep
お
going.
茶菓子代わりに聞いてやるぜ。
わらわの身の上話が茶化扱いとはな。そこまでこき下ろされてまでのこのこ語ると思うか。
After I made fun of her, Beto reacted a little sensitively. It looked like even though making fun of people was her specialty, she was horrible at being made fun of by others. And there was a little bit of that at the beginning of episode 2, right? I feel like there was a little bit of this going on whenever what was it, her and Shannon were like at the beach eating snacks. Beta was just stuffing her face full of cookies or something. Just then, my teacup suddenly made a sound, surprising me.
お嬢様の魂は捕らえられ、新しい生命の檻に吹き込まれました。
What, Ronove? You disguise yourself as a teacup or something, talking?
それはつまり、お嬢様が再び人間として生を受けたということです。
Before I realized it, the Demon Butler had taken my cup and was adding more black tea to it.
ロノウェ。もうその話はよい。こやつはバカバカしくて危険というでな。わらわもバカバカしくて話す気にもならぬ。
新しいクッキーを今焼かせているところでございます。
Oh, hell yeah, more cookies.
それまでお茶菓子代わりにお嬢様の昔話がちょうどいいかと思いまして。
もうわらわの話は良いというのに。揃って不愉快な奴らだ。
You're the one who hired him.
わらわは席を外すぞ。ロノウェ。給仕を済ませたらとっとと下がるのだぞ。バトラと無駄話などするでないぞ。
There's no such thing as pointless chit-chat with Battler.
かしこまりました。努力いたします。
Away she goes. Beto's short temper... Beto's short temper peculiar to woman, which I don't... At... Beto's short temper Peculiar to women. I, that's like two separate things there. Yeah? Like it's saying Beto has a short temper. And also that short temper can be peculiar to women. That he doesn't understand it. Right? No, is it just me that thinks this is phrased a bit weird? Rachel's short temper, peculiar to woman, which I don't really understand, took hold of her, and she turned into her body into gold butterfly scattered and disappeared. You think it's weird too? Alright, it's not just me. I wasn't sure if I was actually starting to lose my mind and my brain was completely distorting sentences beyond recognition, or if it actually was just a bit weird. Alright, but we got it. We got the gist of it. After that, only Ronove and the scent of black tea were left.
なんだか、俺が怒らせたみたいで気分が悪いぜ。
Maybe you did. Why do you feel bad though?
ご自宅があられるようですので、これ以上申し上げることはございませんよ。
Give him a high five.
ちょっと待てよ。とどめを刺したのはお前だろうが。
Yeah, why not?
はて、何のことやら。お砂糖とミルクはいかがですかな。
ミルクだけでいいぜ。
ミルク。
あと、お茶菓子も欲しいな。
クッキーが焼けるには、まだ時間がかかりますよ。
How long does it take to cook cookies?
チャカの代わりがあるって言ったぜ。
かしこまりました。
Oh, yeah. Renove's going to continue the story?
いただけるのでしたら、続きをお話しいたします。
Oh, yeah, based.
ホムンクルスがなんとかって言ったな。一応は知ってるぜ。
Yeah, I watch Full Metal Alchemist.
あれだろ錬金術だかで作り出せ人造人間のことだろ。
はい。お嬢様の魂はホムンクルスに閉じ込められ、再び赤子となって生を受け、この世に蘇ったのです。
Little baby.
しかし、赤子でございますから、金蔵様が愛を語ろうとも、それは無駄なことでございます。
It also would have been a bit weird, don't you think?
まさか、じい様はその赤ん坊をこの隠し屋敷に、同じ年に成長するまで閉じ込めたってのか。
For 30 years?
はい。そのまさかでございます。しかし、魂は同じといえど、人間の魂はその器に強く影響を受けます。お嬢様はかつての記憶をすべて失われ、ごく普通の人間の少女として成長されました。
それが、そこのガーデンチェアに座ってるベアートだってのか。
What made her remember and
はい。
come back as?
その通りでございます。まさに瓜二つに成長なされました。しかし、魔女としての力は持ち合わせておりません。あくまでも人間としてのお嬢様なのです。
Why did the Beatrice like portrait in the back react? Oh. Alright, this is why. Beto, who was sitting in the garden chair looking up at the sky, voiced the same question again. He asked who she was. The meaning of those words was finally starting to click. He couldn't understand why she was living here all locked up. Grandfather had seized Beatrice's soul, shut it up in a body of flesh, and then shut that up in a hidden mansion. However, since she had lived here since the time of her birth, she couldn't even understand who she was, or why she lived shut up in there. Wait. Who would take such a stupid story seriously? Why don't I change my interpretation? In other words, couldn't it be something like this? Grandfather met Beatrice. But boy, hold on. I had to sneeze and it didn't come out. That's always good. Love that. Alright, so grandfather met Beatrice. He then fell in love with her and courted her, but she didn't accept him. He then flew into a rage and shut her up inside this hidden mansion. Beatrice tried to escape, but no matter what she did, she couldn't succeed. So she finally chose her own death, and then... No. Maybe there was a girl who looked like Beatrice? No. Maybe? Grandfather raised this child with care, but maybe he didn't view this child as his daughter. The soul was once again shut up in a cage of flesh. Those words probably meant that he didn't view this kid as her child, but as her reincarnation. Maybe that's what it meant. If you interpret it that way, even a story this weird might make a little sense. No, no, no. This might be some bullshit Beto cooked up to confuse me. As if I could accept any of this. In the first place, Huadoran, was it? There's no proof whatsoever that a hidden mansion actually existed. Couldn't this be something you just fabricated on the spot? Whoa, you can do that too? Yes, stated it. I want a Ronove version of this. So the mansion does exist. Ronove would never lie to me. I trust him. Ronove used the red to say that... Dorian? I'm totally not pronouncing that correct, am I? Dorian? Dorian actually existed. Does that mean the same as the red Beto used? I guess all demons can use the red? Beto, who knew I would try to trip her up, had grown extremely cautious when using red. To think that Ronove could also use the red. However, it was the red of a crafty man. I didn't know how far I could accept it. But anyway, I might be able to get some kind of hint out of it.
このクアドリアンの庭でくつろいでるベアトとさっきのじい様との会話は真実なのか？
はい、真実です。かつて実際にこの場所でお二人はこのような会話をなされました。
The parrot actually had a conversation like that in this place.
助かるぜ。
Thanks, Ronove.
さらに赤で頼む。あいつホムンクルスから生まれたなんて言いやがったが、そんな非科学的な魔法的存在実在するのか？
Don't actually answer that.
その問いかけにはお答えできません。
It's okay. Good.
理由はステイルメイトになるからでございます。
Doing so would cause a stalemate.
ステイルメイト?
No one being able to play any further than this?
なんだそれ。
チェスの用語で千日手のパーペチュアルと同様にそれ以上のゲーム進行が不可能になる宣言です。これは千日手とは正反対で指し手がなくなるある種の手詰まりの状態を指します。
And be no ties after all.
パーペチュアルに同じでチェスではこれを引き分けにしております。ただしお嬢様とバトラ様のゲームでは引き分けがございません。ですのでステイルメイトになる質問には赤でお答えすることができないのです。
よくわからねえこと言って煙に巻いてるがつまりホモンクルスなんて魔法的存在が実在するって赤で言えないからごまかしてるだけなんだろ？
仮に私が 赤で魔女は実在すると言ったら、バトラ様はどういたしますか？
それを信じるか信じないかで、俺たちは大喧嘩してるんじゃねえかよ。それを言われちまったら、ゲームオーバーだ。
魔女は存在すると赤で申し上げたなら、しかしバトラ様はその理由が示されない以上、それを受け入れないでしょう。しかし赤で語られる以上、反論の余地もなく証拠も示されない。この場合、敗北を認められないにもかかわらず、反論の手がなく手詰まりとなってしまいます。チェックメイトされていないにもかかわらず、次なる指し手が存在しない。
Makes sense.
バトラ様が次の一手を打てない以上、お嬢様に手番が回ってくることはなく、ゲームはそこで永遠に止まってしまう。その結果、お嬢様があなたを屈服させることもできない。これが手詰まりの状態です。それを回避するため、このような形になるご質問には赤でお答えすることができないのです。
Fair enough.
早い話が、身も蓋もない質問は禁止だと、そう言いたいわけだな。まあ、そりゃそうだよな。赤で魔女は実在するって言われちまったら、俺は花から。
ご理解いただけて助かります。他の形の質問でしたらご協力できるかと思いますよ。
Oh?
奴がはぐらかした副賞要求には答えられるか。この島の人数だ。
Oh.
お嬢様が保留されている副賞要求にももちろん答えられませんよ。
Just phrase it a bit differently.
お嬢様の家具でございますので、出過ぎた真似はできかねます。
Ro made an exaggerated gesture, trying to act like a loyal retainer. This guy's so shameless.
一瞬でも使えるやつと思ったのによ。諦めて他の質問を探すか。そうだ、大事なことを確認するのを忘れてた。これはベアとの思い出話なんだろ？いつの話なんだ？まさか現在ってことはないだろ。
はい、ここは1967年の世界。
1967. So what, 20 years ago? Am I remembering the year right? It's like the 80s that this takes place in, right? The murders from 1986. All right. So this conversation was. Ah. How fast does a homunculus grow up? Because we assume he summoned her, contract gold, yeah, whatever, but then trapped her, but then how long was she even there before she decided to throw away the body she had? If we assume, like, within the first year, I guess that could be fair enough. Enough time for, like, a baby to grow up and end up looking pretty much exactly like Beatrice around this time, yeah. Wait, am I thinking about that correctly? Maybe not. When did he summon Beatrice? I think is the info I'm missing. Seen quite a few games where they age faster than normal humans. I'm not sure if I've seen games like that. But I feel like I've seen other forms of media with something similar. I think in Full Metal Alchemist they all were like unaging except for Was it not Pride? Wrath? Was just the only first and only one that was able to age. Anyway, howdy, Darnito. Howdy, howdy. Just doing some thinking. Yeah, I think I'm thinking too far ahead about the age of Beatrice and whatnot. Because if this is like 20 years before the murders. Oh wait, 30 years ago. It was. I think it was stated 30. When they all talk about the gold, it was 30 years prior. So 10 years. But this is 10 years into the, I guess, 30-year legend, yeah? So what, did the freaking homunculus body actually age at like double speed or something? Maybe, I guess we can continue listening and maybe get an answer. Oh look, what I answered one of my first questions immediately right there, and I continued. Thank you, Ronove. You're so cool. Let's try rearranging the story again. Wonder if it's gonna be something like this. Grandfather fell in unrequited love with a person called Beatrice. Then he confined her in this hidden mansion and continued to court her, but she was stubborn and didn't give in. Eventually, she grew pessimistic about being able to escape from here, and probably committed suicide. And then, her soul was put in a homunculus and... No, no, if I accept that, it's the same as accepting the witch. I can interpret that part like this. She probably had a posthumous? Why can't I pronounce this word? Posthumous. Fucking... Right, even if I could pronounce it right, I don't even know the meaning of this. Awarded or appearing after the death of the originator. Thing she gave birth, but died after. Grandfather must have believed that her soul had been placed in a new physical body, and might have thought that the child was the reincarnation of Beatrice. That means at least 19 years ago, Beato existed on this island as the 19th person.
1967年の六軒島の隠し屋敷に人間としてのベアトリーチェが存在した。それだけだ。
その通りでございます。1967年の六軒島の隠し屋敷に人間としてのベアトリーチェ様が存在した。
Thank you, Ronove. Very cool.
ああ、サンキュー。助かるぜ。
おめでとうございます。これでバトラ様の19人目の駒は、その存在がはっきりしました。バトラ様が熱望された18人以外に罪をなすりつけられる19人目の人間。
Thank you.
いかなる罪をなすりつけることのできる生贄の羊。それがお嬢様とは実に愉快。
I feel like you wanted this. Ronove laughed indiscreetly. Somehow I didn't like how he put that, so I didn't feel like laughing along with him.
そうだ。ローザおばさんは言った。ベアトリーチェは死んだ。私が殺した。どういう意味なんだ。
それは私の口から語るよりも、実際に顛末をご覧になった方が早いでしょう。少々時計を進めましょう。
Joe pulled a stylish pocket watch from his pocket and touched to watch them. As soon as he did, I saw gold butterflies gather around his back and take the form of a person. Was it Beato? We realized that it was someone else. Oh? It was her. The oldest sister of the Seven Stakes, who loved tormenting me more than her 3 meals a day. If I don't consider myself lucky to see that sexy ass... If I don't consider myself lucky to see that sexy ass, I won't be able to keep up with their torture game.
ロノウェ様まだこちらにおられましたか。ベアトリーチェ様が至急お呼びです。
Are the cookies burning?
はって地球のどのようなご用やら、少々バトラ様とのおしゃべりが過ぎたようですね。それではバトラ様、私めはどうか引き続きお嬢様とのゲームをお
Yeah,
楽
that's
し
the
みくだ
stuff.
さ
Well,
い。
he needed to bake the cookies. Cookies need and stove that's on to bake. You can't just turn off the stove and expect them to still cook.
へいへい。せいぜい楽しむぜ。あんたはベアトより話が弾むからな。
I once put cookies in on like a tray and then put them in the oven to cook, only to come back like 30 minutes later to see that the stove wasn't on. Cold ass like cookie dough still on the tray. Do it best I can, because my conversation go a lot more smoothly when they're with you, as opposed to her.
赤も気前よく使ってくれるしよ。ぜひまたおしゃべりに来いよな。
バトラ様、私めもこう見えてもお嬢様の家具、お嬢様が望まぬことはできませんよ。私が語った赤は本来ならお嬢様が自らの口で語るべきもの。へそを曲げてしまわれたお嬢様に代わって赤き真実を披露したに過ぎません。
やっぱあれへそを曲げてたよな。
It was sad. Seeing me and Ronove incomprehensibly hitting it off, that steak Nichan cocked her head curiously.
ロノウェ様ベアトリーチェ様をお待たせしております。
Ronove. Ronove? Maybe I'll keep pronouncing it like that.
お急ぎを。
ええ、直ちに参ります。それではバトラ様、後ほど。ようやく仲良くなれてきましたね。やはり良い友人になれる気がします。
Hell yeah.
ベアとの陰口仲間って
Friendship
こ
level
とならな。
ロノウェ様
はいはい。それでは失礼いたします。
He said this like 3 times already. There he goes for real. Maybe she didn't like seeing him act so friendly with me, or maybe she really had been told to hurry. The Stigny Chan let out a thunderous cry. Ronove laughed frivolously and disappeared, as if running away.
煉獄の七杭が長女のこの私がこの程度の用事で呼びつけられるなんて。
Was this funny?
ベアトリーチェ様もこの程度なら他の暇そうな妹たちに言いつければいいのに。
何をカリカリしてんだよ姉ちゃん。腹減ってんならクッキーでも食えよ。最後の一枚をくれてやるぜ。
ふん、気が利くじゃない。なら一ついただこうかしら。
I casually pushed the snack plate with the last remaining cookie over to her.
ありがとう。
Oh, ow. Why? As though coming as a period at the end of a sentence, a sharp sound pierced the table. The nails on 3 of her fingers extended, grew sharp, and pierced the space between my fingers. Between my fingers on the hand that was pushing the plate, missing them by a hair's breadth. It happened in an instant, so for a while I didn't even realize that her fingernails had grown. The tips of those sharp nails were like blades with a red manicure. The spaces between the bases of my fingers hurt sharply. Those razor-like blades had been plunged into the tables, a hair's breadth away from the back of my hands and fingers. Because of those 3 blades, I was unable to even let my careless hand tremble, and by now all I could do was let a bead of cold sweat drip down. Oh, okay, so didn't actually hit him. Was close to.
姉ちゃん、そろそろ爪を切った方がいいぜ。
ルシファーよ。それが誇り高き私の名。ベアトリーチェ様にお仕えする名誉ある家具、煉獄の七杭が長女。他の面汚しな愚昧どもとはわけが違うの。それに見合った敬意を示さないと後悔する。
どう後悔するんだか。俺には見当もつかねえぜ。
バカな子ね。そんなに遊んでほしいの？そんなに忘れられないの？私の悔いを思いっきり奥の奥までねじ込んでたっぷりえぐって楽しませてあげるわよ。
クソったれ。いつか押し倒して同じセリフ言ってやるぜ。
あらそう？楽しみにしてるわね。
Damn. Oh, Beto? Oh, back here again, I guess. Rosa so as friggin' Battler watching this as a pile of goop on the floor right now. Again. Rosa eventually regained her calm. The men wanted to hurry her into talking faster, but Curie intervened. If something like that really had happened, then it would have been a terrible experience that Rosa wouldn't want to remember. After taking several deep breaths with her hand over her chest, it seemed like she was more or less resolved herself to talk.
あれはいくつの時だったのかしら。多分中学生か。よく覚えてない。とにかくそのくらいの頃だったと思うわ。
ってことはだいたい20年くらい前ってとこか。
20.
あの頃の私はあまり成績が良くなくて、いつもお母様に怒られてばかりだった。私なりに努力していたつもりだったんだけど、お母様の期待には全然応えられなくて。
母上はローザにも随分厳しかったな。当時は同情していたよ。
I'm thinking back to the very start of this episode. If the Beto we know now is like how she looked in the homunculus body. Well, I said it was exactly like her, though. I don't know. My thought originally went that the silver-haired woman we saw at the very start, who had the name Beatrice, I guess actually was her, but it was... maybe it was her first body? Maybe? What did Cross say? I was thinking about that. Mother was always very strict with Rosa. I sympathized with her at the time.
陰口ばっかだったくせによく言うわね。
予算かエヴァ。それで
Eva, do you have room to talk about that? All, all of you were pretty horrible to her, apparently.
ローザさんはどこでベアトリーチェに会ったんや。
秀吉さん、今はせかしてはダメよ。いいのよ、ローザさん。楽に話して。
ありがとう。あれはお母様に特にひどく叱られた日よ。
Harshly. Flashback. Even though my tutor had promised to keep it a secret, apparently they told Mother all about how I had complained. Mother scolded me brutally, saying my name was a disgrace to the— Holy, worse than Kinzo? Of course, I was doing the best I could. But I had none of Cross Nisan's dignity. I couldn't get excellent grades like Eva Nisan, and I had no leadership abilities like Buff Nisan. Never stood out. I didn't particularly excel at anything, and I found myself asking why I'd even been born into the Ushiromiya family. Began to question more and more why I'd even be born. Why I'd even been born at all. This is what happened on the day I experienced my mind going blank for the first time. For the first time in my life, I realized that in addition to facing or surrendering to my problems, I had the third choice of running away. Though I say run away, there was no way I could have left Rakanjima and gone somewhere else. But anyway, I wanted to run away from the mansion and my own self at the time. In a way, it was like a kid running away from home, or maybe a passive sort of suicide.
いなくなりたかったの。あるいはいなくなることによって親を心配させたいという子供なりの反抗だったのかも。私は森の遥か奥に行けば後ろ宮の家から逃れられる、あるいは迷子になって心配させることで仕返しができると子供ながらに思ったの。
それで行ってはいけないと言われていた森に？
ええ、浜辺へ出てから海に沿うように。特に理由があったわけじゃないけれど、島をぐるりと回ればその反対側には誰も知らない場所があって、私だけの隠れ家になるような気がしたの。
浜辺からぐるっとってのは無理だな。途中で崖になっちまうだろう。あんなとこ通れるわけがねえぜ。
There was a hidden pass!
だから通れる方へ通れる方へ、とにかく奥へ奥へ進んだわ。道なんかないひどい森だったけど、あの時の私にはそれが心地よかったの。それほどの険しい森を抜けたなら、その分後ろ宮家から逃れられるって。
情けないわね。成績で叱られたならその分努力すればいいのに。
Not now, Eva.
それを言ってはいいかもね。その代わりローザにはデザイナーとしての才能があったじゃないか。
Literally speaking, he was covering for Rosa, but everyone knew that Rosa's company hadn't been profitable.
よせよ。今は嫌味を言ってる場合じゃねえぜ。そして偶然たどり着いちまったんだな。ベアトリーチェの隠し屋敷に。
Rosa nodded weakly.
どのくらい歩いたんや。地図で場所が示せるんか。夏さん、この島の地図はあるかいな。
いえ、今ここにはありませんが。
What? Burned all the maps or something?
無理よ。適当に歩いただけだもの。地図を見せられたってわからないわ。それにあれから20年も経ってる。
You know what? True. If she could remember the exact path she took from 20 years ago, that'd be insane.
多分森へ行っても二度とたどり着けないわ。
Several people let out dejected sighs. Well, continue the story. It was vividly clear that in their haste they thought some hint related to the witch. It was vividly clear that in their haste they thought some hint related to the witch's epitaph, or maybe even the ellipses make it seem weird. But like a comma and then some ellipses or something. Be a bit easier for my brain to parse it. Alright, or even the goat itself might be resting there.
六軒島はこの屋敷の周りが整地されているだけに過ぎねえ。他は完全に未開で、前頭測量は相当の手間がかかるだろうな。
でも確かに存在すると分かっただけでも収穫よ。お金はかかるだろうけど、例えば航空写真の会社に調査を頼むとかこのお屋敷を建設した業者に当時のことを聞くとか、調べる方法はあるかもしれないわね。
Take too long.
そうね。あるかないかもわからないものを探すよりはまだ方法があるはずよ。
早速調べる価値があるだろう。
その調査は兄弟合同でやるわよ。兄さん一人ではさせないわ。
It wasn't yet certain that the gold was hidden in that secret mansion, but the sparks seemed to have been sent flying between Cross and Eva already.
兄貴たち、今はよせよ。ローザ、続きを話してくれ。
Thank you, Rudolph. Only one seemingly not bullying Rosa here. Oh? Bit of a strange sounding BGM we got going on here. Blindly, randomly, I kept running on and on. Suddenly, I came across something I thought was an animal trail. I was very tired and had no idea how far I'd walked, so at the time, I naturally took the easiest path. As I did, suddenly, right before my eyes, a very, very tall fence appeared. It was a fence wonderfully adorned in Gothic style. For an instant, I thought I'd gotten turned around and returned to the original mansion. Of course, there were fences around the mansion to stop us from entering the forest, but this fence was decorated differently, and moreover, it was very tall. It probably reached a full 2 stories up. That is quite tall. Holy. It was covered with ivy and created a mysterious, solemn atmosphere. At the time, I believed in the legend of Witch of the Forest, Beatrice. I had been told that she was frightening, but some of the servants told me that she'd sometimes help you if you respected her. Since I had little confidence in those days, I believed the only way I could be saved was by receiving her help. That's why I thought what I did. I believed that this was the fence of the mansion belonging to Beatrice, the Witch of the Fortress. I thought if I could meet with Beatrice, she'd definitely save me. So I decided to try going in. But the fence was very, very tall and didn't look like I'd be able to go over it. So I chose to walk around it. I thought if I did, I'd eventually reach a gate. But it wasn't that easy. The fence had an incredible length to match its incredible height. And no matter how far I went, I didn't reach a corner. It might have encircled a massive area. Or maybe I just had that impression because my child's legs made it difficult to walk in the forest. Anyway, I couldn't find a gate for a while, and I started to feel sad, as though the witch had rejected me. As I did, I eventually came upon a large tree, whose twisted root had bent the fence. Massively high and long fence that nobody could find a mansion. Bravo, Shirumia family. They didn't go deep enough into the forest. Alright, fence came above 3, fence. It might get my clothes dirty, but if I crawled, it looked like I'd be able to sneak in.
そこが隠し屋敷だったの。あれが私たちの言う隠し屋敷なのかはわからない。
How many other mansions do you think are on this island?
少なくとも私たちの知る場所ではなかったわ。
wasn't as though I came out into a garden as soon as I passed the fence. I had to continue through a lot more uncultivated forest after that. And then there it was. As I did, the forest suddenly opened up, and what appeared there was an unbelievably fantastical scene. You think that, on Rokkenjima, where I thought only we lived, there could be such a wonderful mansion hidden away. A beautiful flower garden spanned the front of the mansion. It was a flower garden of a completely different design from the rose garden we know so well, and it was very lovely. Of course, the mansion was also wonderful. It was a couple sizes smaller than ours, but it was still elegant and adorable at the same time. Then, I saw her figure. I saw her sitting in a garden chair position to give a view of the flower garden, wearing an elegant dress. It was that black dress embroidered in gold that we would later know from that portrait. I hadn't seen an elegant dress like that, except in fairy tales and on the stage of musicals. For a person to be wearing it as her normal clothes, that in itself seemed quite fantastical. The mysterious scene was enough to make me lose my sense of reality. If someone had told me then that it was a dream, I might have had nodded obediently and waited to wake up in my bed. I had forgotten to hide myself in my shock, and she eventually spotted me. At first, her expression was quite listless, but when she noticed me, her eyes opened very wide. It was only natural, considering that a guest she didn't know had suddenly appeared. I lowered my head automatically, planning to greet her and apologize for entering without permission.
そなたは誰か新しい庭師なのか
This new gardener. Just so now seeing the fence in the background, like I thought maybe it was like there's like a hill with like a fence going around it, but I think those are just trees and the fence is like towering over the trees. It is really tall, god damn. Those were the first words she said to me. I grew slightly calmer because I realized that we could talk to each other. Because I hadn't been turned into a frog just by meeting her eyes, like the terrifying witch in a fairy tale.
ごめんなさい。勝手にお庭に立ち入ってすみません。そなたは誰か名乗るがよい。後宮ローザと言います。後宮。おお、金蔵の一族の人間なのか。あ、はい、金蔵の娘です。こんにちは。
I was a little surprised. After all, father was a great man, feared by everyone, and yet she had spoken of him without using any honorifics. So I was immediately terrified of her. After all, if she could refer to my fearsome father that way, she must be a witch with incredible power. After staring at me curiously, she beckoned me to come over. Frightened as I was, I obeyed. After all, I thought she might really turn me into a frog. The closer I got, the stronger that fear became. After all, as I kept saying over and over, that woman in her dress in the flower garden in the mansion, that whole picture was so fantastical and beautiful that it seemed to separate from reality. Probably wouldn't have surprised me at all to learn that she really was a witch. And I really was lucky she hadn't turned me into a frog. As I awkwardly stood there, shocked still, she motioned to an open chair and urged me to sit down. Yo, you are Beatrice not looking absolutely terrifyingly evil. Maybe a little bit adorable.
初めて訪れた者を庭へ招き、語らうのがわらわの唯一の楽しみよ。他に何の楽しみもないがな。
As she said this, she let an unhappy smile show for just an instant. Because I was full of a strange mix of tension and excitement, I rudely asked her a question all of a sudden.
森の魔女ベアトリーチェですか？いかにもわらわがベアトリーチェである。
Even to which part?
やはりな、ベアトリーチェは実在したんだ。
その姿はまさに肖像画の。
ええ、まさにあの肖像画の通りよ。
Who's in awe?
お父さんの想像の中の魔女じゃなかったんやな。
それであなたは彼女と何を話したの？彼女はお茶を入れながら私のことをいろいろと聞いたわ。まず森を抜けてやってきたことを驚かれた。彼女は柵の外には危険な狼がたくさんいると信じていたみたいだった。だから私が森を抜けてたどり着いたと言ったら、どうやって狼から逃れたのか、ビスケットを渡して許してもらったのか、
I was like, wolves? Wait a minute.
それとも魔法の街灯をかぶってなんて感じのことを言ってたっけ？
In a magic cloak? Is that a Harry Potter reference?
そりゃ確かに魔女っぽいわな。面白いお人や。
あなた黙って。
What? Now you're the one sushing him? You shush.
ずいぶん昔だけど、お父様は森には狼が住んでいるから近寄ってはならないって私たちを脅さなかっ
That's a lie he even told her.
そんなこともあったな。バカらしいね。日本の狼はとっくの昔に絶滅しているというのに。
Japanese wolves went extinct. Could they? Were Japanese wolves different from normal wolves? So I immediately went to look at a picture and when did they go extinct? We got like color pictures of these things. They don't look that different. That's the one I was looking at. I was looking at this exact image. He looks goofy, dude. Look at him. I love him. Goofy ass dog. That's all dogs are. Just wolves. Wolves that we befriended.
まさに子供騙しだな。
Beatrice, apparently.
記憶にねえな。そんな話。親父に聞かされたっけ？森には魔女だろ？狼なんて話、聞いたことないぜ。
あんたがまだ小学校だった頃よ。覚えてない？そしたらあんた、むしろ狼を撫でてみたいなんて言い出すもんだから。
It would be cool to pet a wolf.
お父様はすぐに狼の話を引っ込めて魔女の話に切り替えたのよ。もうその嘘っぽいことと言ったら。
当時のルドルフには狼よりも魔女の話の方がてきめんだったね。
Now they're teasing
よ
Rudolph.
く覚えているよ。私の背中にしがみついた夜があったことを覚えているかね。
ルドルフさんにもそんな可愛らしい時代があったのね。
うるせえな。子供の頃の話だぜ。
まあとにかくベアトリーチェを閉じ込めていたのがお父さんなら、同じ狼の話をするのは道理ね。彼にとって六軒島の広大な森は後ろ宮家と愛人の屋敷という相入れない二つの異世界を分断する越えてはならない。
柵の高さを考えると、どうやら親父殿は庭ごと丸々を座敷牢にしたようだな。さながら二つの世界を分ける国境も同然だったのだろう。
狼はともかく、野犬の類でもいたのではありませんか？そのための策だったかもしれません。
I think he was just lying, Natsui.
六軒島に狼も野犬もいないわ。その策はベアトリーチェと私たちの間の国境だったんでしょうね。
しかし狼の話を素直に信じるなんて、なんちゅうか純朴やな。わしの想像していた魔女とは随分違う感じやで。
そうね。それは私も感じたわ。とても尊大で、確かに
Pompous.
魔女のイメージ通りの人だったんだけど、どこかとても子供っぽくて、なんていうのか素直すぎるというか、世間知らずな印象を受けたわ。例えるなら、本当におとぎの国の人みたいというか、本当に不思議な人だったわ。
それからどうしたんだ？親父の話とかは出たのか？
ええ、何日かに一度。約束されている日もあれば、突然の日もあったそうだけど、
Just whenever he feels like it,
ふらり
basically.
とお父様が訪れては、一緒にお茶を飲んだり、散歩したりしたんですって。私が訪れたその日は、たまたま彼女一人だったと言っていたわ。
なるほどな。まさに愛人といったところだ。やれやれ。いくつ年下か知らんが、親父殿もやるね。
いかがわしい意味での交流はなかったと確信しています。
バカね。男と女の多さに色気がないはずないじゃない。それでどうしたの？それから何の話を？
私の自己紹介をしたので、逆に彼女のことを質問したわ。そうしたら、急に雰囲気が落ち込んでしまったの。
Depressing.
なんていうのか、とても気だるそうな、寂しそうな、私が初めて彼女の顔を見た時に浮かべていたのと同じ表情だった。
まあ秘密の愛人だからな。好き勝手に歩かれてお袋に見つかっちまったらことだ。きっと軟禁に近い状態だったろう。綺麗なドレスに綺麗な屋敷や庭があっても、さぞや窮屈な思いをしてたんだろうぜ。そりゃ苦労もあったろうさ。それで
彼女はきっと何か悩みがあった。それを私に話したところで何の解決にもならない。私もとても悲しかったのを覚えてる。私と一緒にいることさえ忘れてしまったかのようで、遠くをぼんやり見ながらずっと無言でいたわ。私はきっと失言してしまったに違いないと思ったんだけど、謝罪の言葉すらも口にしていいような雰囲気じゃなくて。だから私も彼女が私と一緒にいることを思い出してくれるまでずっと黙ってた。
And then she muttered unexpectedly.
柵の向こうには
Another new track?
本当に狼などおらぬのか？え？はい。狼なんて動物園でも見たことないです。動物園とは何か？
What the hell is a zoo?
あー、いろんな動物が飼われているところです。象とかキリンとか
Oh, very fancy sounding, this one.
珍しい動物がいっぱいいますよ。
What are all those?
動物園に狼はいないのか？なら怖くないかもしれんな。狼がいたとしても動物はみんな檻に入ってますから安全です。だから安心して見学できるんですよ。
The mighty witch of the forest was apparently terrified of wolves. I remember it looked pretty funny to me at the time.
それはわらわとどう違
She didn't know about zoos. I explained how fun zoos could be, but it was very difficult for a person like her who had never visited one to understand. On the contrary, as I explained it to her, her expression grew increasingly dismal. She couldn't see the difference. Apparently, even though she lived in an elegant mansion and was surrounded by... I can't speak anymore. Apparently, even though she lived in an elegant mansion that was surrounded by a high fence and seemed to lack for nothing, you couldn't see how she was any different from the animals shut up in cages.
わらわは何者なのか。皆はわらわのことをベアトリーチェと呼ぶ。それは確かに、そなたの言うように偉大な魔女の名前らしい。しかし、それはわらわではないのだ。わらわには魔法など何も使えぬ。わらわは、その魔女の魂を好みに封じられているだ
So
け
you
なの
know that much? There was definitely something odd about her. Beyond just being cut off from the world. It seems she truly believed that magic exists. I think she talked about lots of weird things, but I don't remember the details. All I thought was that this might be a person to be pitied. She was unable to leave this mansion of her own free will, a prisoner without even realizing it. And she didn't know anything about the outside world, didn't even understand who she was. She probably vaguely realized that she was to be pitied. But since she didn't know anything, she seemed incapable of recognizing her own unhappiness. Long ago, when I told Nissan that I felt sorry for a bird in a cage, she said this. A bird that only knows about the inside of the cage isn't long for the outside. But this wasn't a bird. She really was a person. Even if she'd never been outside the cage, she understood that there was more to the world. So, I invited her.
柵の外へ出てみますか。本当に狼はいないのか。いないですよ。絶対平気ですから。出たいぞ。だが、いつも門は閉まっている。
How does this go bad?
私が入ってきたところがあります。くぐり抜けられる隙間があるんです。
Her in her big ass dress? Are you sure?
外の世界があるのか。はい。狼は本当にいない？
Very concerned about the wolves.
はい、いませんよ。
I only planned on inviting her to go on a short walk, but she kept looking over her shoulder at the mansion as though she was seriously worrying over the decision. Then I learned what she was preparing herself for.
わらわはもうここは嫌だ。外へ出たい。そしてわらわが何者で、この世界はどうなっていて、わらわは何のために生まれてきたのかを知りたい。
I didn't know what her life had been like before then. It was probably something she couldn't express easily. If it was harsh, she just had to say she wanted to escape. If it was sweet, she just had to say she'd stay. For example, maybe it was like how a hot fireplace on a winter day makes the air get thicker and thicker, giving you a headache. Don't even know what this feeling is. I don't think I've ever had a real fireplace. Seen one? Been around one? Like ever? Even though you know you shouldn't keep things the way they are, you still need courage to open a window and be tormented by the cold wind. She was starting to realize that she couldn't stay there forever. She was starting to realize that she had to go outside someday. But since she didn't know about the outside world, she must have needed courage to take that unspeakable first step outside. Despite that, she had made her decision. She voiced her decision to go outside, a decision she was probably making for the first time in her life. I hesitated for a moment. Father had decided that she should live here. She was like Father's beloved bird in a cage. I just let her escape, Father might scold me harshly.
見たい。え、何を？動物園が見たいのだ。
I don't think there's one of those on this mansion. I was just a little bit surprised when she finally gave me a gentle smile. Could that have been a farsightedness brought about by her decision to venture out from her cage? It was a smile so gentle I couldn't imagine it had come from that once dark face.
そなたと話すと知らないことばかり出てくる。わらわは学校なるものもわからぬし、動物園も知らぬ、映画館も知らぬ、遊園地も知らぬ。そしてそれを知りたいと心の底から思う。
She wants to know,
そなたは
to learn. I was nervous about how I could keep it a secret from Father. But her face looked so happy, I went along with her and nodded. But she seemed to not notice the meaning behind my vague smile. She seemed to believe that I'd really take her to all those places. She was pure and genuine. Probably never been tricked by anyone. No, maybe it's better to say she never learned how to doubt. Her smile was somehow radiant and yet pathetic. I wanted to find a way to grant her modest wish.
わらわはもうベアトリーチェは嫌だ。わらわが何者なのか、ベアトリーチェではない、新しい人間を始めたい。だからここから連れ出してほしい。
Who will you be if not Beatrice?
もう紅茶もいらぬ、ドレスもいらぬ、金蔵とも二度と会わぬ。ここよりわらわを連れ出してくれ、ローザ。
However, that responsibility was one that a child like me couldn't hope to fully bear. Still, when I saw her serious gaze along with that brilliant smile that made it look as though a possessing spirit had left her, I could feel a little courage and start to rise up inside me. This was definitely something that would get me in a lot of trouble, and yet it was definitely the right thing to do. I didn't know how it'd turn out, badly apparently, but I'll take her away from here. Of course, I won't be able to talk to Father, and not Mother either. Should I talk to Onisama or Onisama? No. What about that reliable Genji-san? Or, that's right, what about Kumasawa-san, to whom I can always talk to when I'm in trouble? I'm sure they'll be able to do something. Anyway, for now, I'll take her out of here. This was already a place she didn't want to be. So I took her to the crack in the fence and let her outside. She was all nervous, checking to make sure there were no wolves around. But once that fear disappeared, even just walking around this dense forest seemed to be fun somehow. Every time she found something, she asked me about it. And they really were all really trivial things. What's that flower? What's that leaf? What's that sound? That smell? It really was like the inside of that fence had been her entire world. But now that she traveled beyond the limits of her world, it's strange. When I first saw her, I really thought she was the witch herself, relaxing inside the witch's mansion. But now it was different. Or actually, the complete opposite. She left the world she believed to be finite and was overjoyed at the realization that the world was endless, something she never thought of before. Though everything she saw was new. It was almost as though she was the one who had been thrown into a fairy tale. If she was Alice, then I felt almost like a rabbit holding a watch. To her, it was probably a really fun walk, filled to the brim with excitement, but I was actually at a loss at what to do. After all, I walked randomly to get there. Of course, I didn't know the way back to the mansion. There were no lights in the forest, and I hadn't brought a flashlight. I realized it would be terrible if it got dark while we were like this, and grew impatient. She was too innocent, and apparently she couldn't understand at all how frightening it would be to face the night inside the forest. But I was the one who brought her outside. I had to take responsibility somehow and resolve the situation. So I had a thought. Let's go to the ocean for now. If we went to the beach around, we could eventually make it back to the mansion. However, that was much more of a problem than I'd imagined. I didn't have a map or a compass. There was no way I could walk in a straight line. through an uncultivated forest, and I immediately lost my sense of direction. I already had no clue which trail I had come by and was completely lost. At this rate, night would definitely fall before I had a clue where to walk. But this was no time to cry. After all, that woman following behind me was so innocent and having so much fun. Oh, I definitely had to lead the way through this forest. For the sake of her smile as well. Gritting my teeth so that she didn't see me looking troubled, I pushed my way through the woods, advancing down a path that wasn't a path. Then, after going through various troubles, I fortunately managed to reach the ocean. At that time, I still didn't even have a clue where I was on the island, but for the time being, I was just a little reassured, realizing that if I just went around this way, I would surely be able to return to the mansion. However, though I'd reached the ocean, we were on top of a rock cliff. The beach was far below us. I was tired from walking around the forest for so long, so I figured that an open area, even a rocky beach, would probably be much easier to walk in. So I suggested that we go down the rocky cliff somehow. It looked pretty dangerous, but I figured there was no other way. However, Beatrice agreed to my plan without any doubts. Even though she was probably older than me, she meekly obeyed, almost as though she were some kind of chick who thought I was her mother. I searched to see if there was some part of the cliff I'd be able to get down. Then I found a place where the cliff had fallen over and made a slope. It looked a little dangerous, but if I went down using both hands and both legs, like I was crawling, I thought I'd probably be okay.
ここを降りましょう。気をつけないと危ないけど、とにかく海岸に降りて、あとは沿って歩けば、もう迷わずに済むと思うの。
Anymore.
ローザがそうするのならそうしようぞ。わらわは迷うとやらも楽しいぞ。とても愉快だ。
Really had no sense of danger. There's probably no doubt that she lived a life without discomfort. Even though she knew it would get dark when night fell, she couldn't imagine how dangerous the inside of a forest would be without a light. Furthermore, it seems she couldn't grasp at all how dangerous it might be if she fell from this cliff. I warned her repeatedly to be careful. I cautiously examined our potential route down. It seemed to be quite a long drop. I think it might have been about 10 meters down. If you look down at it from the bottom up, it would probably have looked shorter than the roof of the mansion. But looking from the top, it felt almost like staring down from the observation room of Tokyo Tower. But Beatrice still appeared to be completely without fear. It felt as though she'd never even been taught that high places were dangerous. Oh, maybe she believed that she was a witch and that she could fly, so there wouldn't be any need to worry.
気をつけてくださいね。結構高いから。
And she wasn't careful and fell off.
気をつけるぞ。下へ降りたら
Like
海
a
が
God of War gift.
そこに水族館があるのか。
いえ、この島には水族館はないですよ。
No, aquariums. That was in episode
海に
2.
はたくさんの魚がいると思います。
そうか。魚はいるのか。そなたが話してくれたクジラとかイルカとかペンギンとかはいるのか。
ペンギン?
いえ、そういうのは水族館に行かないといないです。水族館は島を出な
I
いと
still
ないで
can't
す。
believe that an aquarium can hold a whale. Is that true? Surely not. Surely you can't find an actual whale, like an aquarium that has like a full ass whale, right? Aquarium with whale? Several aquariums in the US feature whales. I don't know, that's the AI telling me that. Does a whale shark count as a whale? I would think not. Yes.
そうなのか。だが楽しみだ。クジラとはどんな魚なのか。
But for one, I don't think they're fish.
すっごく大きな魚で、 あれそれで潮を吹いたりします。
Beluga whale on the exhibit. Stop looking at the freaking absurd that you just sent me. Whale sharks. Have to, yeah, killer whales are obvious. But when I hear whale, I think of like a, what is it called? Just a great whale. Whale. Blue whale? Is that what I'm thinking of? No, great whales. Yeah, I know. When I hear the word whale, that's the first one that comes to mind. That big ass, huge whale. And which is probably why it sounds weird to me that a whale can even be in an aquarium. To me, they mean like a smaller type.
ならばイルカは頭のいい魚で、あれこれも哺乳類だっけ。とても頭が良くて芸とかを。ならばペンギンはどうなのか。
They're birds.
あれこれは鳥類だっけ。
Now come on, that's the easiest one.
なんだ、水族館なのにさっきから魚が出てこんぞ。
まあその魚だけでなくいろいろな海の生き物がいっぱいいるんですよ。
ほほー、それはとても楽しみだ。
Ah! I got too excited and fucking fail. She let out what might have been a funny, rushed and short cry. No, it was probably a scream. Came right out of the blue. Her body separated from the cliff and silently fell. I immediately wanted to say something to her. I wanted to say, didn't I tell you to be more careful? It was the thought of a child. It was how a child immediately gets mad when something bad happens, trying to find an excuse to show it wasn't their fault. Of course I said it out loud. Are you okay? Didn't I warn you over and over? She wasn't okay. She was dead.
それで崖から落ちてどうなったんだ。
That's how Rosa defeated the evil witch. Saved Umineko. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you indeed, Rosa. I think it's pretty obvious, guys. Rosa fell silent. Her gaze dropped to her feet as though she were seeing through the floor into some disgusting memory. Eva's brutal words were the ones Rosa had most wanted to avoid. And when she was hit with them, she screamed in resignation.
岩浜だったもの。尖った危険な岩がたくさんむき出しになっていた。目を見開いたまますごい血が溢れ出して、たちまち真っ赤な絨毯を広げていった。声をかけたわ、揺さぶったわ。でも彼女は返事はおろか、瞬きすらも。
Damn. Instant death.
まぶたを閉じることさえしてくれなかった。私が悪いのよ。彼女はドレス姿だったのよ。あんな動きにくい格好なのを知っていたのに、私が壁壁を降りようなんて言ってしまったから。彼女はすごい素直だったから、私の言うことに何の疑いもせずに従って。
いつまで死んでいるつもりか。
It's however long it takes for you to revive him.
いい加減に目を覚ませ。まったく、わらわの預かり知れぬところで勝手に肉塊に姿を変えようって。
おめえのとこの太もも姉ちゃんとイチャついてただけだぜ。それより、これはどういうことだ？
見たままよ。
Did you catch all that, Battler, while you were sliced to bits?
わらわは足を踏み外して転落し、死んだ。
なんだと？19人目として登場しておきながら死んだだと？ふざけるな、そんなわけはない。ローザおばさんは子供だったし焦ってた。医者がいたわけでもない。多分死んだと誤
Yeah,
解した。
without Nanjo there, how could they confirm her death?
仮死状態か何かで生きていたんだ。
Oh, she's gonna say it in red. I actually did die there, idiot. It can't be true. She's got to be alive. Otherwise, how can she be here? The kid aged Aunt Rosa. Kid aged Aunt Rosa shook. Dude, weird descriptor, dude. Shook Beatrice's body, crying. I stared into that face too. Her eyes were still open and it really was a corpse. I wanted to dodge the issue by saying something vague like she must be playing dead. But no matter how I looked at it, it didn't look fake at all. It really did look like she was dead. How can Beatrice be here in Magical Realm when me, the battler who died twice, if she's dead? I'm pretty... I feel like he's died more than once while in Purgatory here. It seemed like the sisters had their fun with him more than just these couple times we've seen. Coffee. Just counting all the stake play. Wonder how long it's actually been between the episodes. Between each episode. Like, you would assume at first that it's just all back to back. But the start of this episode where you see Battler anywhere and all that. Seems like it's been way longer than we probably realize, yeah? Sorry. Something. Beatrice had fallen upside down from that cliff. From a cliff of that height, and her head had smashed against the pointed tips of those sharp rocks. Yeah, you probably would die after landing on those rocks from that height. Yeah, she probably actually did die. But I couldn't accept it. No matter how dead she looked, she had to be alive. Then she went on to become this damn irritating witch. That makes all the inconsistencies fit. Grandfather must have kept her confined constantly in a hidden mansion. Then, to take revenge for that, she committed several atrocious murders. Aunt Rosa probably just mistakenly thought she was dead. That she was actually alive, and as soon as Aunt Rosa left, she would miraculously breathe again. Then she somehow lived on until today and opened the curtain on her revenge drama. Otherwise, the facts don't fit together.
そう簡単には騙されねえぞ。赤で復唱できるか？確かに死んだと。どうせ生きてるんだろ？見え見えだぜ。
I did
そ
die.
れのどこが生きているように見えるというのか。間違いなく死んでいる。
Ah! It's definite. It. It? It. She never said that she did die, just that it died. Ugh, it can be anything. The cliff died. My theory that the 90th person was grandfather's mistress, a human Beatrice, has been defeated. I had planned to strike back from a defensive position, but... Then who was which?
お前はたった今、まさか魔法で蘇ったとか言い出すんじゃねえだろうな。
Revive myself with magic.
すでに説明したと思うがな。そこに倒れているわらわは確かに魂はわらわだが、
My soul just
その
escaped.
体はわらわをうつしおへつなぎ止めておく肉の檻に過ぎなかった。そしてその肉の檻がこうして壊れた。それがどういうことかわか
Wow,
る。
Rosa, everyone's gonna die because you let this one die. Way to go.
もうさっぱりだぜ。好きなだけ魔女っ子トークに興じろよ。チャカの代わりに聞いてやら。なんだ、空っぽか。
Oh yeah, he gave the last cookie to
紅
him.
茶のおかわりを頼むぜ。
Oh, you're talking about the tea.
ロノウェ、客人が紅茶をお望みだ。
How nice. Good hospitality. When Beto clapped her hands, Ronove appeared. Butlers sure are convenient.
おかわりですね。
Yes,
かしこまりま
please.
した。どの程度お継ぎしましょうか。
どうせチャカがボリューム満点だろうからよ。半分でいいぜ。
Ah.
それでも、なみなみとお入れするのが英国式でございますよ。
Do I look British to you? Even though just enough to wet my throat would have been fine, he filled it to the top. Turned my back to Beto, sipping it in silence.
ちょっと目を覚ましてよ。
But her eyes are open. You kept saying that. Rosa, okay, to freaking Beatrice's point of view, Rosa shook me. No, shook the corpse that had once been me. I watched over her from a short distance away. Ah, so I fell there and died. For a while, I believed that was true. I saw Rosa spend a long time beside my corpse, then watched her as she ran away. Eventually I realized I was a different individual from that corpse.
そうか。わらわ
Free!
わらわか。
I'm me, she says. Freaking Riku has a line here.
ようやく金蔵の戒めから逃れられたのか。
Eventually, I felt the memory returning. The fact that it was an endless witch who had lived for 1,000 years. Then I remembered I'd been summoned by Kinzo and that I've been imprisoned by him for a long time. While being imprisoned in a cage of flesh, I completely lost my memory as a witch. However, thanks to Rosa, if you could say that, thanks to my accidental death, I now finally regained myself.
ローザ、そなたはわらわを死なせてしまったと後悔しているだろうが、わらわにとっては感謝したいくらいよ。
I couldn't see Rosa anymore. Did she go call a doctor, or is she so terrified that she ran away? It no longer matters. The soulless shell no longer has any value. And yet, I'm so frail now. Even this glorious midday sun is agony to me. What are you, a vampire? Disintegrated by the sunlight? I destroyed my human form, then I changed it to several gold butterflies. Yes, with my magical power as frail as it is now, this form is easier to maintain. To escape even a little from the light of the sun, I rode the wind and gently flew up to the side of the cliff. It would probably be a bit cooler, the forest. Anyway, I'll take some time to recuperate and regain my former power, as I ponder how to make Kinzo pay up for all he owes me. Dancing alone through the air, I looked down on the shore one more time. That rocky shore laid a figure of what had once been me, the figure I would eventually regain. To regain the form of that physical body I had thrown away. It would probably take more than 100, 200 days. Might require 1,000 days, perhaps even more. 1,000. However, I am the Endless Witch, the Golden Witch who has lived for 1,000 years. Waiting any countable number of days would be no problem. Oh, Kinzo, regret that you are not here now. No longer will you be able to capture me. She found her soundboard.
それで、お前は黄金の蝶に姿を変え、森の中に潜んで魔力が回復するのを待ったってのか？
そういうことだ。そなたを嘲笑するためにこの姿を取るが、本来は蝶たちの姿でいた方が魔力的には楽なのだ。
無理しねえで楽な格好で嫌がれよ。ムカつく笑い声を聞かずに済むぜ。
蝶に姿を変え、森に紛れたわらわを探し出すことなど、もはや金蔵には不可能なこと。
He was free.
金蔵も指をくわえているわけではなかった。しかしわらわを捕らえる方法はすぐに用意はできぬ。そのため、まずはわらわをこの島から逃さぬ方法。そして、
Oh?
わらわが力を取り戻すことがないよう、即座に手を打ったのだ。
Is that where that wandering, like, priest, shaman, whatever it was, comes into play to, like, set up that shrine in the mirror?
やれやれ。とにかく金蔵の執念深いことと言ったら、想像を絶する。あれに惚れられるのも、なかなかに辛いものだぞ。
蝶になったお前を逃がさない方法？なんだよ。森全体に蚊帳でも張ったってのか？
Yes.
うん。
He did, actually. It was huge.
それを魔法的に行ったのだ。そなたは知っておるか？船着き場の先の洋上に岩礁が浮かび、そこに小さな東洋魔術の祠があることを。
ああ、あれか。
He did that?
今年はなくなってたけどな。昔、修験者が作ってったとかいう祠なんだろ？
Genja.
六軒島は元来歪みのある島でございます。魔力的な存在やそれに類した存在を引きつけます。お嬢様もそんなうちのお一人でございましょうね。紅茶のおかわりはいかがですか？
Isn't the cup still full? Alright, talking to her.
いただこうぞ。それらは人間たちに害をなし、おそらく数々の不気味なる伝承を残してきたであろう。それを聞きつけた東洋魔術師が古代に設けたのがあの祠なのだ。長い時間を経て、その力は失われておった。金蔵はそれを修復することで、島の結界を蘇らせ、わらわを再び
西洋魔女のお前に東洋の魔法なんて通じるのかよ。
Apparently he does really well, too.
本来は相性が悪い。しかしわらわを封じたいという目的においては、ある意味都合が良かっただろうな。わらわも西洋魔術であれば心得がある。どのような結界であっても何かの手が打てたであろう。しかし東洋魔術は専門外よ。わらわが飲まんとするスープに対し、スプーンではなく箸を与えられたようなものだ。
東洋魔術が強く支配する空間では、西洋魔術はひどく力を失います。ただでさえ1000日はかけたであろう力を取り戻す時間をさらにさらに長くかけねばならなかったのです。
That's why she has Shannon break the mirror.
そ
Lock
れ
them
で
together.
約20年かけて魔力を取り戻し、今こうして蘇ったって言いたいのか？
辛く長い年月であった。わらわは黄金の蝶の姿のまま長く日々を送り、 どのように仕返しをして
Watched
やろう
over him.
か。
And you hate him?
思案することだけを日々の楽しみに生きてきた。わらわにとって幸運だったのはその間の20年間。金蔵はわらわを探し出し捕らえるあらゆる秘術にことごとく失敗した点だったか。人間に起こせる奇跡の数などたかが知れている。わらわをあれだけ長く捕らえていただけでも十分に身に過ぎた奇跡だ。そう何度も捕らえられてはたまらぬわ。
It would have been funny though. Just keep capturing her.
じい様が前のゲームだかで言ってたな。魔法は確率的奇跡に宿る。みたいなことをよ。
うん。金蔵はわらわを再び捕らえる秘術を探るうちにそこに行き着いたのだ。
Stumbled upon it.
そして13人の生贄を捧げることでわらわを再び蘇らせる儀式をついに編み出したのだ。
13人の生贄。
それが魔女の碑文、生贄の歌でございます。第1の番に6人、第2の番に2人、そして第4の番から第8の番にかけて5人。
2? 5? Hmm.
合計13人の生贄を捧げる禁じられた儀式。
You know, 13 is an important number in Kingdom Hearts.
その生贄はランダムに決められ、儀式を執り行う金蔵自身も例外にはなりません。
Would have been even funnier if the group of people who were killed first needed to be 7 and not 6.
バカ野郎。この島で起こったあの凄惨な殺人が全部おかしな儀式だって言うのかよ。
Didn't you learn this in like the end of the first episode and then see it again in the second episode? Did you forget? I think all the killing has mushed up his brain, dude. I had a vague idea that this might, just a vague idea, might be the case, but I couldn't just hear it was true from a witch and demon and say, oh really, and accept it.
六軒島には18人いる。13人が生贄に捧げられ5人だけが生き残る。そしてわらわは蘇る。つまり金蔵がわらわに再び会える確率はだいたい3分の1といったところか。その確率に自らの命を落とし、残りわずかな寿命の最後の一瞬にわらわとの再会を望んだのだ。
そのふざけた儀式のために俺たち親族が集められたってのかよ。ふざけやがって。いい加減なことを抜かすんじゃねえ。
もとより契約の通りだ。金蔵の生を終えるとき、貸し与えた黄金と、そして金蔵が生み出した財産のすべてをわらわがもらい受けることになっておる。
What would have happened if he died like while she was still like in that homunculus body? Without any memory of who she actually was. Would have this still applied?
金蔵には散々に英雄を飲まされたが、今となってはこの1000年でも稀な時間だった。何しろ魔女の天敵は退屈よ。それから逃れることのできる数十年間を提供した金蔵には、なるほど、それも含めて借りがあるやもしれぬ。
Yeah.
わらわは金蔵のゲームに乗ることにした。そしてまず金蔵は後ろ宮家当主の指輪をわらわに返却する。
One she's wearing right now. But you can't see 'cause she hides her freaking hand, dude.
わらわの黄金で復興させた家だからな。そして13人の生贄を気まぐれに決めるのだ。
At
そ
random.
してその過程で お前たちが右往左往し、わらわに立ち向かおうと様々な人間模様を見せてくれることは、わらわにとって非常に愉快なことだ。わらわはこの金蔵のゲームを実に気に入っている。
Wow, very cool. Thanks, Kinzo. What's up, Battler?
そんな魔法話は絶対信じねえぞ。じゃあお前は誰なんだ。お前は崖から転落して死んだんだろうが、魂が抜け出して蝶になって森へ。そんなのあるわけねえだろうが。だがお前はここにいる。誰だってんだ。お前こそが19人目じゃねえのかよ。
そうであるな。わらわこそが19人目であろうな。
You didn't say in red. That means it's a lie.
だがダメだぜ。全然ダメだ。
Hey, you can't say that. Only Battler gets to say that. Oh?
この六軒島に19人以上の人間は存在しない。
Bringing this out? No more than 18 humans in Rokkenjima.
なんだってってことは18人プラス X の X は存在しないってのかよ。俺が取ったコマ X は存在しないってのかよ。
Ronove, did you lie to me? You wouldn't do that.
そういうことになります。実にご愁傷様ですよ。しかしお嬢様も手がお早いですな。もう少し泳がせて最後にひっくり返すものとばかり思っておりました。さてバトラ様、紅茶のおかわりはもう結構ですか。
いらねえよチキショウ。俺は信じないぞ。18人の中に犯人がいるわけねえ。じゃあお前は何なんだよ。どうしてここにいるんだよ。19人目が存在しないってんなら、お前は18人の誰かの変装だって言うのかよ。
Oh, don't use another red.
そなたにとってしぶしぶとではあっても、
Ashley.
18人の誰かを疑うことが最後の逃げ道、キャスリングとなるであろうな。しかしわらわはここからが難しいのだ。そなたはなりふりさえ捨てれば18人もの人間を自在に犯人に仕立て上げられる。
I choose Goda. He can be the culprit. That's...
その18人の駒をくぐり抜け、わらわを認めさせチェックメイトに至るのは実に難しいことよ。
Ah, just choose Goda as the culprit. It's easy.
そんなことするもんか。18人の誰も疑わない。疑いたくない。またここに追い込まれちまったのか。ちくしょう。ちくしょう。
三度に及んだそなたとのゲームもいよいよ終盤戦のようではないか。
Approaching the end already?
もう逃げ場はないぞ。
Oh, there's still like a good few hours to go. We're not even seeing any murders yet. Come
お
on.
前の大好きな18人を疑いたくないだろう。わらわがそれをかぶってやるぞ。なのになぜわらわを拒むのか。序盤は本のように、中盤は魔術師のように、そして終盤は機械のようにさせとな。
Opening like a book, middle game like a magician, end game like a machine.
これより詰めるぞ。ゆっくりじっくり。いや、それともそなたにふさわしく一気に畳みかけるのが良いのか。そなたにはそれが似合うだろう。そうしよう。
Just laying out your game plan to me?
すでにそなたの苦手とする攻め方も知り抜いておるわ。
You know what I feel like I should have been doing? Write down every red truth that has been, like, stated, like, up to this point. Yo, look at everyone just hanging out, having fun. I know I'm not having much fun. Genji's either. These two being idiots. So the events really are playing out like episode 1 for the most part, right? Maybe it's... maybe it's exactly the same as episode 1, but we're just seeing new stuff. Still confusing me a bit. There's a wiki for them on... or there's a page for them on the wiki? Yeah, I'm sure looking at that will be a very good thing for me to do. Yes. I'm sure I won't accidentally see something I'm not. What do you have to say? A little lamp thing? Light fixture? Or you can go. Be a Tarichi. Whoa, boy. Perishing. Whoa! He's here. We can now begin, it says. Midnight. Hour 0. Cool achievement. Bing bong. Oh, you did it for me. Sick. But I didn't mean... I read the words chapter 4 and chapter 5 in that. Should I haven't looked at anything else, but those words immediately came out to me. Should I be looking at that? Do a nice save. Kabam. What up? I guess they're called episodes here, huh? Hmm. Anyway. It's been a nice couple hours since we actually did real stuff. I was gonna take a break. Stretch. Man, this reclines real far back, doesn't it? Holy. Almost completely, like, flat. Right. I was gonna take a nice, like, short break here, but at the same time... it's like I said earlier, I've been up since, like, 10 p.m. last night. I think I'm starting to reach the end of the, like, second wind I got this morning when I cooked breakfast and took a shower and all that. Yeah, a bit of a shorter stream, but at the same time, we're gonna do, like, 2 more days in a row of this, like, Friday, Saturday again. tomorrow we maybe even finish Expedition. Or maybe I just maybe I take the day off tomorrow so I can actually like fix this predicament I set myself in here. I just, man, I just get so lost in thought and work and whatnot when it comes to coding. That's the reason I was like up all night. I was coding some stuff for have some music on. I was coding some stuff for Xenoverse again. The new update came out, so I was curious about some of the new files. If you like fly up to like the Kanton TV area, like it starts playing trailers, which is pretty cool. Like even if you're offline, because that's what most of the update was, just video files for those trailers. I was thinking how it would have been cool to put in custom videos and whatnot. But most of the work I was doing yesterday was learning how to add new lobby areas to like teleport to. Like whole brand new maps. Like how you could talk to one of those bots to get teleported to the festival universes or whatever it's called, like tournament like area. You could. There's like no limit to the video length. You just gotta make sure it's sized correctly and it'll display on that big ass dumb screen. Maybe I'll mess with that more. Alright, I was messing with getting new lobby stages loaded, and I got it to work pretty well. There's still some stuff I want to revise in my code. Let me wait. Probably gonna end up doing that all day just to keep myself up. Man, coding in like assembly is rough. I wish I could just I could write in C++. Even C#. If I just make like a freaking DLL and hook it, but I don't know how to do that properly. Oh well. Well, it's if I keep streaming, I'm just gonna keep yapping about boring, dumb coding garbage. And modding. We don't need that during our Echo streams. Yeah, I'm starting to feel tired. I'm gonna check on my dogs, maybe eat something and whatnot. Tomorrow we play more. Well, maybe we play Expedition 3. I guess it depends on how dead I feel on that day. We for sure. I'm for sure gonna play more Umineko on Friday and Saturday. I'm not gonna cancel it. There's still so much to do. I'm starting to second guess whether I really want to continue on to like through the monolith area, or if I want to exit and go back to explore to see if I freaking find one of SKA's rocks. See if like flying is actually an optional thing. If all the freaking sky islands were all optional or something. Surely it can't be. I don't want to believe it. But it almost feels pretty final. I'm gonna keep yapping if I keep streaming. We'll figure it all out. If I'm dead, no stream. Otherwise, yes stream. I need a... Maybe I should try making like a schedule and sticking to it. Like what games to play on what days. Step up. In any case, anyone around to watch me, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time. See ya. I'm out of here before I yap for like another 30 minutes. Bye-bye.